A month ago, I was at a conference and I had an opportunity to actually share a stage with Daymond John from Shark Tank. Daymond John is one of my favorite sharks. So if I have to rank, he's second, right? I really like Mr. Wonderful because he's just so straightforward, all about like making return on investment. He's really just giving them like real life advice. But Daymond John is really super nice, relatable, and that's the preconceived notion I had before I met him. And after I met him, shared a stage with him, and then met him, backstage, he was super approachable. I mean, like, I felt like I was in his living room and he's just giving me all these gems. So I want to take this time just to share with you guys, especially for the performance-based PT space, the clinic owners out there, like, because these are business principles that can be applied to our practices, right? So look at my notes. Daymond John really talking about growing the business by taking affordable step. And what he meant by that is you can still grow your business by not burning the boat, right? Because we have this mindset where like, oh man, we got to go all in, 2 feet in, burn the boat, which means like there's no looking back. I'm going to be honest. I did not do that. I took affordable steps to slowly grow my business, right? I left my full-time job to part-time and then slowly grow my practice, on the part-time basis. And then when I sustained enough caseload, then I then quit my job and then focus on it full-time, right? Because I was the sole provider. I was paying bills. My wife at the time was still getting her doctorate, so we cannot take those things. I cannot burn the boat. So now when you're looking to scale your business, and finding ways to exit your treatment room, you can do the same thing. You can grow through affordable step by hiring the right PT, slowly weaning your caseloads off, and then give it to the PTs that you have. Most people have this all or nothing mindset where they're like, oh, either I treat 40% or I don't treat at all. And it's a really bad mindset to have, because if you go to the extreme side, you're either overworking or you're underworking, right? You need to slowly wean your way out. So for me, as I was treating 40 hours, I was like, all right, how do I offload 5? If I offload 5 hours, now what do I do with those 5 hours, right? So now I'm slowly just like, all right, I'm going to find my way through. And from 5, I did go to 10 to 20. So now like practically nothing at all. Like I still see some of my pro guys then and there. So that's the first lesson I learned, taking risk through affordable step. All right. Next thing that he said, and this is a huge one-liner for me, is that as a business owner, you have to learn to love the maze and not the she's, right? Most people are very goal-oriented, and obviously the she's for everybody that started a business was financial freedom, right? Some sort of financial number. And if you learn to love the maze, which is the journey, the process itself of finding your way through to get through the she's, you will enjoy this journey a little bit more. Because, like 4 years ago, I have a goal of getting a second 7 figures business. And as I got here, it felt great, but then I want to accomplish more. I realized that the she's for me was more than just financial outcome. It's more like, how do I, deliver more to the PT community? How do I give advice to practice owners that, pretty much similar path as me, but maybe 2 years behind, 3 years behind, right? So that's why I started this podcast. So once you learn how to love the maze, the she's almost become irrelevant, right? You want to chase the she's, but at least understand that the maze, the process, the transformation process that you go through as a person, as a business owner, is what you're really chasing after. So that was a second biggest point for me. Third thing is that you have to learn new skill, and you learn new skill through solving problems, right? So right now, if I have to look at the bottleneck or the limiters of why MyoConnect is not growing, right? These are problems that I have not yet learned how to solve. So for me to solve those problems, I need to learn new skill, right? So the first part of that process, you have to address it. You have to admit that you have problems. Once you admit you have problems, then you go figure out like where the problem's coming from. And then you ask the question like, okay, what do I need to learn to solve this problem? Who do I need to hire to solve this problem? How do I keep them accountable to solve this problem, right? So these are new skill, right? When you're scaling from a solo practitioner, the problem that you have is always, how do I get more leads? How do I convert them? How do I make the sales? How do I get people to trust what I do, right? Once you start scaling your business, you have PTs on board now. You're like, okay, how do I get more leads? How do I get someone to go see the other PT because my name's at the door, right? So now that's a new problem you have to solve. So you're upgrading your skill set based on the problem you're facing. So the lead problem you're facing, you have to learn how to market. You have to learn how to have a hard conversation when it comes to sales. You have to really have good confidence in your skill set. You have to realize that you're not selling PT, you're actually selling transformation process. Then when you hire a PT, now you're solving a problem. Like, all right, how do I manage people? How do I make sure they're growing with the company? How do I support them? How do I make sure that they fit the core value, right? So it's just an act of solving problem through new skill acquisition. So that's the third point I've learned. Next one is really just going back to 3 principles of business, right? So the first one, he said, for the business to thrive, you need to acquire more customer, right? So how do you get more patient? The second one is, how do we keep that customer to buy more? So how do we reactivate them, right? How do we go from like, hey, treating their need to treating something else, right? What else is bothering them? And the last one is create different businesses that they can make them buy them more frequently. So for us, we were doing PTs. Now we're looking to now we have acupuncture, right? So for me, it's like, all right, all these are working together. So get more customer, get the current customer to reactivate, and then get that customer to also buy more of different services. So if you can do all these 3s, you should have a thriving business, right? And this is all according to Daymond John. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and obviously connect, reach out, follow me on all the social media platforms.